guys? How's it going? We're here today to discuss the 3 open matters for ABC Manufacturing Corporation. These 3 open items are the Concrete Specialties walkway replacement, Hudson Inc. litigation, and the Pluto Bank loan modification. So first, we'll start off with Charlie. Any evidence, sufficient evidence for the concrete?
Yeah, so just to kind of give you a little bit of an overview, ABC Manufacturing, there's a walkway outside of one of their manufacturing buildings that needed repairs. They hired a company in December to come fix it. That company came and realized that there was going to need to be more permanent repairs done in order to adhere to safety and building codes. So they did some of the repairs, but said to ABC that they were going to need to come back in next year and do a more permanent repair. They provided a good amount of evidence for this. There was a proposal for the replacement. There was an email from the contractor outlining details of the replacement and repair as well as payment. And then there was also a check request form to back up that payment. These are all things we thought were sufficient and appropriate for the evidence. I think if you maybe wanted to take it a step further, you could verify that payment verify the payment with deposits and bank statements and canceled checks, and then also just make sure that the work site, everything is like what they promised, and that they've done the work that they've said they've done.
Sounds good. And I know that ABC sent them a check for $5,700. Is there any adjustments we need to make for that?
Yeah, so I think we're going to need to make 2 adjustments for that. First, so the initial work that was done, that cost them $2,700. So they just took that out of the original payment. So we'll debit repairs and maintenance expense for $2,700 and credit cash for $2,700. Then that remaining $3,000 on that deposit, they're rolling over to deduct the cost of the permanent fixture. So we'll debit for now prepaid expense for $3,000 and credit cash for $3,000. And those are the only 2 journal entries I think they'll need to make.
Okay, so that covers the concrete repairs. Jack, you want to get into the litigation?
Yeah, so our engagement, ABC Manufacturing Company, is facing an infringement claim from Hudson Inc. For violating a patent and is seeking monetary relief. ABC has been advised by internal counsel Ginger and Orange that it is not probable or reasonable that ABC is going to win or prevail in this case. And although it's difficult to determine the exact amount that would need to be paid, the range of loss is somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000. So to be in compliance with GAAP, we have to have an accrual of $400,000 to ensure that we can pay off the lawsuit for ABC. So after looking at the audit statements and seeking further counsel, there's nothing more that we can do as we've accounted for the legal expenses that will be incurred. We don't see the need for any additional documentation or any adjusting journal entries until these payments are made. But for now, we're currently aligned with GAAP, and that makes sure that we're safeguarded against any further payments that might be needed. The only thing I'd say to do is that we should just be aware of any further legal expenses down the road.
I'd see if there is.
Yeah.
That's good. So we've got that covered. And I'll move on. I'll discuss the Pluto Bank loan modification a little bit here. So it's come to our attention that ABC has violated its debt covenants with Pluto Bank, and the bank isn't granting a waiver. So the initial $215,000 loan is there. I mean, we had $65,000 of that classified as current liabilities, and $150,000 that were due further down the line and classified as long-term liabilities. As far as evidence for that, the bank's confirmation letters and the trial balance trace is enough, so we feel pretty safe and concrete there. But as far as adjustments for that, since they aren't granting a waiver, the $150,000 that was classified as long-term are now due within the next year in April of year 11. So we're going to have to make the adjustment and reclassify that as a current liability along with the $65,000 that's already current. So to do that, I would propose the adjusting journal entry be a debit of 150,000 to long-term liabilities and a subsequent credit to current liabilities of 150,000, so that the whole lump sum of 250,000 that's due within the next year in April of year 11 should all now be under current liabilities, and sort of settles that. So you want to do a quick recap before we?
Absolutely. I think we primarily talked about kind of three separate things here: the concrete specialties walkway replacement, the ongoing litigation with Hudson, and then the loan modification from Pluto Bank. I think for each of these, we've discovered or identified any additional audit procedures that we need, as well as journal entries, and I think we're all set here.
Sounds good. Sounds good.